Hello everyone, we are going to try our best to rank all the mutations in Despot's Game. Couple quick things, these are just my opinions. You can have your opinion, it's probably just wrong, that's all. We're going to do it based on what I think is the strongest mutations, the most useful mutations in the game. We are not going to rank the events that happen when you enter a new floor. We're not going to rank those things, so range fighters, neuroprosthetics, stuff like that is not going to be in the rankings. They're too random. They're strong. Some of them are really bad, like blind, but it's very hard to reliably rank these things that are so random. The floor events that happen on 2, 6, and 10, they are going to have their own tier down here, and I'll do my best to kind of rank them in a row here because they're not RNG reliant. You get to pick them, right? So let's jump into it. And we'll try and keep this as short as I possibly can. I'll give as much knowledge as I can throughout, but for the most part, we're going to try and keep it short so it's not hours and hours and hours long. This is the AFK mutation. So this makes your newbie stand still for 10 seconds at the beginning of a fight. I never really take this. I feel like the only use this thing ever has is really in a Hail Satan run. So pretty useless. So it's a D tier mutation. Right out of the gate, right out of the gate. And then we're going to move on to Soul Destruction, which I think is actually, well, it was nerfed recently. And keep in mind, nerfs happen. But I still think this is a really good mutation. What it does is it reduces your opponent's magic resistance by 50%. It used to be 100, now it's 50% for 5 seconds. It's only available on fighters and tricksters. I still think it's a very good mutation, though. Maybe not A tier, S tier anymore. It probably used to be, but I think with the nerf, it's likely here. This is going to be, you know, one of those ones that people might say you need to have it, but I don't know anymore. The 50% instead of 100 feels like a pretty hefty nerf. Now we move on to Reinforcement, and I think that's what it's called. Yes, it's called Reinforcement. I have the game up on the screen. And I should actually mention this. If you ever want to know what a mutation does in the game, there is, when you're on the home screen, there is a question mark that you can go to in the top right-hand corner. And it will bring up your items, your mutations. It'll show you the achievements. And you can just go in there, and it will show you what classes can get a mutation, and what the mutations do. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I was writing notes, but it was taking way too long. So Reinforcement. When attacking, class units have a 25% chance of receiving 10 extra armor. I mean, that's not too bad, right? So it's a 25% chance of receiving 10 extra armor. If you have good attack speed, I mean, maybe you start stacking some armor pretty quickly. I still don't feel like it's a super important one in the grand scheme of a run. I'm going to put it in C tier. I think that's probably, it's not something that's going to, I don't think it's going to be super important to you. Overall, there's a lot of stuff that you'd rather take in your builds early on. Now we have Armor Wrecking, right? So this is going to remove 50 armor from your opponents when they get hit. It's not like an AoE thing. It's just when you attack, right? So it's 5 seconds. It reduces 50 armor, and I'm gonna put it in the B tier as well. I feel like it's a little like. I'm going to put it here. I'm not basing it on seasons, right? So right this season, I would say that this is probably actually better, a higher tier maybe. But I'm not going to rank them like that because next season things might be different, right? Keep that in mind. The balance of this game is always changing constantly. Now we have Rubber Bullets. Rubber Bullets is a shooter event on floor 6. Right? So you could get to hit the lever on floor 5, which I always forget to do. And you can do the shooter event, and you can get this mutation if you want it. And it will make your shooter bullets, ricochet 3 times. So it hits more opponents, potentially dealing more effects, more damage. So we'll place it there for now. It's a very strong one. I expect it to probably be near the top when we finish this all out for the floor events. Now we move on to Cleanse. Cleanse. A super important mutation that I personally think maybe needs a rework because of how strong, or not necessarily like, well, hard to say. It's hard for me to word this. Cleanse, basically what it does is it purges all negative effects from your troops, or for the class that you have cleanse on, because it's available for every class. And it'll do it every 20 seconds. Most fights in the PvP don't last 20 seconds, so it's just a one-time shot, right? It costs 40 mana now. But it is an S tier mutation, and it requires, in a lot of builds, especially in the higher levels, you need cleanse on your classes if you want to do well in a lot of situations. And I feel like I don't like mutations personally that feel like a requirement. And this one is there. This is pretty much as close as you're going to get to like a requirement for a build to be successful. If you don't get it, maybe you just wasted a half hour to an hour playing the game because you didn't get good RNG for one mutation. And I feel like that's going to be paired with another one coming up here that maybe I think should probably be reworked. Now we have, oh crap, I can never remember what this is called. What's this called? Fast Reload. It's called Fast Reload. This is one of the early floor ones that you get offered right away. What it does is ability cooldowns are 1.11 times shorter. So, I mean, it does what it says it does. It'll shorten your cooldowns a bit. I think that it's an okay mutation. A lot of builds can really benefit from good cooldowns. So I'm not going to put it in the D tier. I'm going to put it in here in C tier. I think that it's a pretty good mutation overall to take, especially on the early floor, on like your first floor. It's not like you don't feel bad getting that, or you shouldn't feel too bad if you end up with that. It's not going to ruin your run by having better cooldowns. Now we have Critical Strike. So this does apply to physical damage, not magic damage. So keep that in mind. Remember, like, your mutation will have a little sword next to it if it's a physical damage mutation, or a little lightning bolt if it's magic damage. So class units have a 15% chance to deal 3 times damage on attack. I really love this mutation. It pairs very well with the dice, where you can increase your chance of things triggering. I really like this. I think it's an A tier mutation. When it comes up, I generally always take it, unless something like Cleanse is there. Yeah, pretty much always take this thing whenever it pops up for me. Now we have just the old attack bonus, I think is what they're calling this in this game. I think it's just attack bonus. There's a few different variations of attack bonus in the game. 15% is for every class. There's a 25% for every class. And then I believe there's a 10% that applies to everybody, but that's in one of those random floor events. But attack bonus, I mean, it's pretty hard to argue with it when it comes up. I feel like you probably should take it unless something you really, really need to make your build work comes up. More damage is generally pretty good to have, right? I'm gonna put it here just because, like, maybe you're running a magic build. I don't know, right? Like, maybe it's just not going to work for you, or it might not be A tier. And that's mostly because Herculean Power is right here. When you look at that and you see Herculean Power, it's like, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't overrank the attack bonus, because Herculean Power is 30% to attack, right? So I'm going to say that is A tier. I'm going to say that's A tier. For me, I think that's an A tier. Arguably S tier. I mean, you could say that it's S tier. Just because that much extra attack is pretty damn nice. And then we have the dash. This is our trickster floor mutation, unless you're on Game Pass. I think it's Thrill of Battle still, but this is for Steam. So the trickster one is dash. This is on floor 6. And your dodge, because tricksters have their dodge, that's their ability. It becomes a forward dash that deals 400 damage along a path. So it just does like a straight shot through, and it can hit multiple enemies. We're going to put it here, and I think that personally, this is kind of a toss-up. I like both of these. I like both of these a lot, so I'm not comfortable moving it ahead of Rubber Bullets, or vice versa. You could make these are pretty even as far as the the mutations go for the floor events. Now we have Delayed Pain. This is a trickster only mutation. And this is these are the ones that are really hard for me to rank because it is trickster only. That just makes it more difficult to rank. Because it used to be, in the middle of early access, this was the most powerful mutation in the game. There was a period in time where Delayed Pain was the most powerful mutation in the game, and then, not necessarily nerfed, I think it did receive a nerf, but now it's only on one class. So what it does is it extends receiving damage for 4 seconds. And you can see how important that would be, because PvP fights are super short. I'm still going to rank it very high, because maybe eventually this comes back and it's not just a trickster-only mutation. I still feel like this is an A-tier mutation. If you're doing a trickster run, you probably want to grab that thing. Okay, now we move on to the weighted dice. So this is kind of like the sibling to the fast reload, except this one applies to your chance abilities, right? So your chance for abilities to trigger. The weighted dice, all abilities are 1.15 times more likely to trigger. I'm going to put it right down here beside the reload. I think they kind of pair together, depending on the build that you want to do. Sometimes you want to have a lot of different effects. This one could work really well. If you have a lot of cooldown abilities, this might be the play, right? So they're early floor mutations usually. Those are ones that you get early. Now we have Evasion. Evasion is a very important thing in Despot's game, right? If you're not getting hit, you're not dying. That's the best way for me to put it. Class units have a 20% chance to evade enemy attacks. I think that Evasion is really, really strong in the game overall. I'm going to put it up here in the A tier as well. You just feel... I always feel like I want to take Evasion. I never look at it and go, man, I don't need Evasion. I kind of need it. And now we have Shooting Towers. Shooting Towers is an egghead only ability, which again makes it a little bit tricky to rank compared to other ones. So what Shooting Towers is it makes the egghead towers, assuming you're doing them, now with the tier 5 ability there as necessary to do an egghead run. But it will make it so your towers will shoot for 299 damage. And I think it's every couple seconds. And it will scale as in the summon tree, right? I don't think that it's that good. It's okay. I just don't really think that it's that important for most builds. I'm gonna say that it's I don't know if I would rank it as garbage. I'm gonna rank it down here though in the C tier. I don't think it's that great myself. And now we have another egghead mutation. We have the... Oh, geez, what the hell is this thing called? What are you called? Fast Towers. Fast Towers. So this is the increase. This is the floor 2 event for your eggheads. And what it will do is it'll make it so your egghead towers are built 500% faster. So they're like instant, right? Because it does take a couple seconds for them to build a tower. Hair is really nice on like a fast cooldown build, I guess. For me, it's not something that that I really ever do. I don't think it's that important, especially now with the tier 5 ability on eggheads. So I'm going to rank it a little bit lower than these other guys. I don't think it's that great. And now we have High Intelligence, the big brain. You get 100% more experience. I think it's great in Brawl. We're not ranking for Brawl here, though. In most cases, this is something that I pass up. So it's pretty straightforward. It's a D tier mutation for me. Better than AFK, though. Better than AFK. Get out of here, AFK. It's a D tier mutation for me. I rarely pick this thing up unless I'm just like on my last roll on an altar and it's just happens to be there for my class. Then I will take it, sure. Now we have Nano Minesweeper. We have Nano Minesweeper. The wording on this one is funky. It does magic damage. when attacking class units, bury a microscopic explosive. I like that they bothered to put microscopic in there. Doesn't matter what size it is. It could be the size of the Eiffel Tower. It doesn't matter. Microscopic explosive in the enemy, which explodes after they die, and deals 150 damage to surrounding targets. So that scales with your magic damage. I've yet to really feel like it's... I wish it felt really good. I've tried it a couple times. I've yet to really feel like it's great. Sure, if you're doing a magic build, it's probably fine, right? But I don't feel like it's that great. I'm going to put it down in... We're going to have a lot of stuff in the C tier, probably. I'm going to say that it's... I'm going to slide it right in here. I think I'd rather have that, and it works for every like it's on almost every class, not every class, but it's on most classes. So yeah, we'll put it there. This is Bite. This is the fighter floor mutation that you can get on floor 10. So fighters deal, it's a little bit confusing too. Fighters deal 1% of an enemy's current HP as damage with every attack. So every time they hit, they deal 1% of the enemy's HP, whatever it is, right? And they do every attack, and they will heal themselves for the same amount. I think it's a really good mutation. Personally, it's something that if you're running fighters, you absolutely want to have this thing. And I'm going to put it, but I don't think I like it more than those ones. Really, well, you know what? I take that back. I take that back. I take that back. I don't think you would run a fighter run without taking Bite. I take that back. I'm rethinking this. I know myself, I have run shooter builds without taking rubber bullets, right? Because you can also get penetrating, and I've done trickster builds without taking dash, and I've done an egghead build without taking this thing. But I have never done a fighter build where I did not take Bite. So I'm ranking it very high. I think that's a fair way to rank that. And now we move on to Fury. This is another fighter mutation. This is a must-have for fighters. Fighters' damage is increased by 15 with every attack. So if you're doing a fighter build, generally what you're doing is you're trying to ramp up that attack speed, and it pairs with this very nicely so that you can get more damage faster, right? So this is a must-have mutation, and for me, it is an A-tier mutation. I'm going to put it right up in here. I think that it's a great mutation to have and a must-have for fighters. And now we move on to Hail Satan. What used to be one of the strongest mutations in the game for a while. This, like, I know a lot of people maybe weren't playing this thing during early access, but Hail Satan was the meta literally for, I don't know, maybe 5 seasons straight. Somewhere between 3 to 5 seasons straight. So what it is you're sacrificing a newbie when you go to make your summon your tentacle. Why can't I find it on my list here? I want to find that. I can't remember the exact damage number. It used to be like 450. I don't see it on the list. 1 second here. Well, I have some technical difficulties. I think it's 320. I could be wrong about that. I'm just going off memory on this one because I don't see it anywhere here. So it does 320. I'm gonna say 320. It does magic damage that scales to every enemy on the other side. Is basically what it does. But you have to sacrifice a newbie for it, and it's been really, really nerfed down a lot. I don't think it's that strong anymore. It used to be super strong. I think I'm gonna put it up here. Actually, I think it's probably, I don't know, I'd say it's actually probably weaker than shooting towers. It's in that ballpark. Yeah, it's been nerfed so hard that it's really not that viable unless you know ahead of time that you're going to be fighting someone that that is weak, that doesn't have any magic resistance on, because magic resistance just, oh, never mind, there it is. Oh, it's 330. I was close. It's 330 damage to all enemies, and you sacrifice a newbie. And now we move on to Healthy Fat. Healthy Fat is extra health. You're going to get 30% extra health. I think it's a pretty good mutation. It's not as good as, like, dealing damage, but I think usually when it comes up, you're going to grab it in most scenarios. I'm going to put it at the top of B tier, very high B. Now we move on to Hungering Fury. This is one that you get offered early on in the game, and it is great for countering hunger. So hunger is a huge factor in this game. There's a cricket playing in the song that I have playing in the background. What the hell is with that? Why do I have a cricket playing in my music? So Hungering Fury, when you're hungry, you take some nerfs. You take nerfs to your attack damage, and you take nerf to your armor. Hungering Fury adds attack speed. So when you're in the yellow on your hunger, you'll get plus 40%. When you're in the red, you get plus 60%. For me, it is the best and most important early floor mutation that you're going to get, right? That you get offered on the first floor. So that's going to move it up into the B tier. I think arguably even higher. You know what? I changed my mind. It's an A tier mutation. I feel like you really should have Hungering Fury. If it comes up on the first floor, I think you're making a mistake by not taking it. I think you should take that every time you see it on the first floor, just because it will help you throughout your run. Impenetrability, I believe, is what this one is called. This one it gives, I think it's 900. Yes. Once every 20 seconds, increase a class unit's armor by 999 for 3 seconds. It costs 20 mana, and it's a Fencer, Trickster, Fighter mutation. I think it's pretty good for just to kind of tank down the early damage. Not A tier, certainly not A tier. It's something that I don't always take, but it will tank down like an early attack for sure. I would say it's probably low B tier, high C tier. I'm gonna say high C tier, but it's not bad. It's not bad. You could put it up here, arguably. Now we move on to what when this game first brought out this mutation, I thought this thing was gonna be busted as hell. The Kalad's Assembly. It's a shooter mutation only. Once every 60 seconds, shooters summon a Kalad for 80 mana. So they'll summon a little tiny bot, and they will go out in front. They're good for tanking a little bit. They're a summon, so they can only really get increased stats by going in the summon tree. I have never had any good luck with it. It costs a ton of mana, so 80 mana to summon one of these little guys, right? And that can really screw up your fight. It can really screw you over by using 80 mana to summon these guys. For me, this is a garbage tier mutation. It is it's bad. It's a bad mutation for me. I really do not like it. Now we have Last Chance. This one it will increase your evasion when you're down to a specific amount of health. I think it's 30% health or something like that. Let's see here. When you're below 30% health, class units have a 35% chance to evade enemy attacks. So that I feel like that's one that you want to have in a lot of cases, right? Unfortunately, in a lot of fights, your troops are going to die before you really even get a chance to dodge, I think. But I think I prefer it over I think I'm gonna slide it in. I'm gonna slide it in here. Yeah. A lot of these are interchangeable too. Keep that in mind. Like, don't argue with me in the comments. Hey man, you should have had this higher up in the B tier or whatever. Yeah, it's all subject to personal opinion. A lot of these things are interchangeable. But I think that's a good spot for it. What do we got now? We have random sparks. This is one of the other ones that you can get early on in the game on the first floor. It applies, so it's magic damage, and each human's active ability is, or each time a human's active ability is used, a random enemy takes 50 damage. This thing doesn't scale the best. It can work okay, especially like early game. But overall, I think that it's probably, like, just the overall damage output is not great. I'm going to say that it's garbage. Better than this stuff though. I'm gonna say down here, I don't think that it's something that you should really like aim for in most situations. I'm gonna say it's there. Most builds, this thing is not gonna be not gonna matter. It's not gonna scale very well for you by the end. Yeah, I think yeah, because yeah, I'm just like trying to think more on that. Am I okay with having it that low? I think so. I rarely like think random sparks won me a fight. Actually, I don't think I've ever really thought random sparks won me a fight. Now this one, what the heck is this guy called? This is one that I barely ever this is depressurization, I think is what it's called, and it removes, I think, 70 mana. Despiritualization. That's what it is. Enemies taunted by tanks lose 70 mana when attacking. I apologize that I don't have all of these memorized off the top of my head. I have lots of this stuff in my head, but this is a lot of mutations to go through. So enemies taunted by tanks lose 70 mana when attacking. I think that this is a pretty good mutation for tanks. The tank-only mutation. And one of the reasons I like it is that if the enemy, and a lot of this is PvP related, but the enemy has, they have resurrection. But they don't have much mana. This might be enough to stop them from being able to cast res or other things, right? So I think it's a pretty good mutation overall. It's not the most important tank mutation, but I think it's a good one. And I'm gonna put it here. I'm gonna put it high C tier. I think a lot of stuff's gonna end up in C tier. I'm gonna put it high C tier though. Now we have Mast taunt. So the way Mast taunt works, another tank mutation. Wait. I take that back. This is a floor mutation. Forget what I'm saying. This is a floor mutation. Floor 2. For the tanks. Now we'll talk about it. So the way Mast taunt works is when you taunt, it will taunt every single enemy in the room, right? Tanks taunt the whole room, but it cuts the duration in half. That's not really relevant to me. The most important part is that you are taunting everybody in the room, and that can be huge for your build. Do I think that it's better than these? Like more necessary? I think it's kind of a toss-up. A lot of these are kind of a toss-up, right? Like, I think... Have I ever done a tank run without taking Mast taunt? I don't know if I have. And for that reason, I'm putting Mast taunt up here. I think Mast taunt's super important if you're going to run tanks. And so one of the reasons why I think also the Mast taunt is super important is whenever I have ran eggheads, I end up actually taking the Mast taunt mutation over the fast towers mutation. That's how much better it is than this thing. I don't think this thing's really relevant at all. And now we have the Mega Newbie. This one's a little bit funky to be here because it's well, it's the only real good mutation that newbies have. But it is a floor 2 mutation as well, floor event. Newbies assemble into a giant Mega Newbie. Its power depends on their number and stats. So it's very reliant on the stats that you put on the newbie. You get the big giant newbie. I did a stream the other day where we actually did just straight up Mega Newbie runs. I'm gonna put it down here. Actually, no, it's better than that. I'm gonna put it here. It's better than Fast Towers. Mega Newbie is better than Fast Towers in my opinion, I think. And now we have Multicast. This thing used to be, I think, pretty busted, actually. Now it's only a 15% chance. So all units have a 15% chance to use an active ability, ignoring its cooldown and mana cost. So only 15% chance out of the gate. But I still think that this is very important in most builds. And it's an early floor one that you can get. I think that Multicast is more important than cooldown and weighted dice. I'm kind of holding it up against that stuff. More important than that. I think it's more important than that. I think it's more important than that. I'm gonna put it in the B tier. I think Multicast is B tier. I think it's B tier. Arguably, you could say A tier, but I think with the 15% chance, I think it's B tier. I'm gonna put it up there. And now we have one of my favorite mutations because it's for my favorite class, the Aurora. Aurora. Once every 20 seconds, fighters increase their attack speed by 100% for 5 seconds, costing 16 mana. So it's a fighter-only mutation. And again, this is just boosting your attack speed like crazy, right? Which also pairs great with Fury. This is... If you don't have this, though, Fury is almost not important. So this is like... You have to have it, right? So I'm putting it up here in the A tier. I think it's a great mutation for a class-only thing. I know these fighter ones, but the fighters do have some strong mutations for themselves versus what the shooters have down here. What's this? Panic eating? Panic eating, if 50% of humans die in a fight, other humans eat a unit of food per survivor and receive 30% bonus to armor and attack. So this is something that is pretty much only good, only useful in PvP, I think. It is kind of nice when half your team dies, you're going to get a nice little boost to your armor and your attack. They eat some food. But because it's only something that's kind of relevant in PvP, I feel like it's... I don't think that it's 100% necessary. It's kind of like an afterthought for me in most cases. And sometimes I take it and I don't even remember to bring food with me. I'm gonna rank it. I'm gonna rank it a little bit lower. I'm gonna rank it low C tier. Just because, like, usually if you've already lost 50% of your troops, there's probably a good bet that you're probably already getting destroyed. I don't know if panic eating's ever won me a fight, to be honest. Penetrating shots. This is a shooter-only mutation. Shooters penetrating shots that deal damage to all enemies behind the primary target. So you can pair this with rubber bullets, and it does like a funky little spread thing. I'm not going to go too far into the explanation of how that works. Or you can just take penetrating shots, and the bullets shoot straight through and deal damage through a straight line. I think it's a pretty good mutation overall. It comes down to sciencing things out, what your preference is with rubber bullets and penetrating shots, whether you want both or you just want to try one or the other. I think it's, on its own, it's a pretty good mutation. I'm going to put it in the B tier here. I think it's a pretty good mutation to have, especially if you know that you're going up against some builds in PvP where you're going to have to pierce through a ton of enemies, right? A lot of summon builds can really be a problem for shooters that don't have penetrating shots. Now we have Rain of Bullets, right? I think that's what it's called. I never take this thing. It's just, to me, it's bait. It looks really, really great on the surface. Yeah, Rain of Bullets. It does magic damage for shooters. Shooters receive the ability to launch bullets at enemies that deal 150 damage in large random area, falling for 4 seconds. If Rain of Bullets has already been unleashed, using it again increases the frequency with which bullets fall by one per second and extends the duration by 0.5 seconds. I don't care about that whole thing. I really like that's. I really don't. I don't recommend this. The animation is super long for this thing. I don't recommend taking this thing. It's usually when you run shooters, you're not running magic damage. That's what this thing is it's magic damage. That's one of the most important things. It's got 2 strikes against it. It's magic damage, and the animation that comes with it can screw your shooters over. So for that reason, it's down here. Maybe better than that. I actually no, it's worse than that. It's worse than that. I'd rather take that than this, I think. That's how bad it is. It's a really bad mutation. I've tried it a couple times thinking that it would be great or I could make it work as a magic shooter build, and I just couldn't cut it versus physical shooters. Resurrection. Once per fight, class units can rise from the dead with 20% health if they have 120 mana. Pretty straightforward. This is available for all classes. If you have enough mana available at the time of death, you will resurrect. And we are going into the S tier with this thing. This thing is fantastic. It will win you fights, easily win you fights, or keep you alive in the PvE. It's probably one of the stronger PvE things. If you get it, it can keep your run going. Very, very strong mutation. Don't pass that thing up if you see it. Let's go with the Magic Shield now. Another strong mutation. At least in my opinion it is. Class units can buff themselves with a shield blocking 400 damage every 10 seconds for 40 mana. So it does cost some mana. It costs a chunk of mana. But it can block 400 damage. So I think it's pretty decent. It doesn't have a super long animation to get this thing going. I don't think it does anyway. I don't think that's changed. A tier, I don't know. High B tier, I think so. I think I'm putting it up here. I'm gonna put it in the high B tier. I think it's really good for blocking some of that damage. The difference between it and impenetrability is the impenetrability is like that's temporary, I believe. It just like goes away after a period of time, after a few seconds. This, I believe, you tank that 400 damage. Like you tank it 100%. This, I don't think you keep the 999 armor for the whole duration. I don't think. I could be wrong about that. Someone will probably tell me if I was. Now, what is this thing called? It's the Aura. Effective Aura. Shooter class ability grants 15% more attack speed. So the shooter class ability is, it will give off attack speed buff to all your other troops, which is kind of nice. This will just give even more oomph to it, right? Makes it a little bit stronger. I have to have a drink here. I'm doing this whole thing in one recording, so bear with me. I think it's okay. Do I think you need it? No. I don't think you need it 100%. I'm gonna say it's a high C tier mutation. Just yeah, you know, you could get out of the way. Get out of the way. I think it's good. Actually, no, it's not better than that. Yeah, we'll put it there. Now, silence. This is probably one of the most annoying mutations. So when I was talking earlier about this thing needing a rework, it is generally 100% because this mutation needs a rework. Shocking content. So it casts silence. No one can use abilities for 2 seconds, right? So if you don't have cleanse and you have a build that's built around that has like a certain ability, and your opponent casts this, has this mutation, you will not be able to do your ability for 2 seconds, and that is generally enough time to lose a fight. It will also cast it on both sides. It casts it on everybody in the whole room, right? It's not just the enemy, it's also your team. If you cast it on yourself and you don't have cleanse, you're stopping yourself from using abilities. But it's you know, like, so you can see where it's a problem, where it becomes like so busted. I feel like it should be a percentage of enemies. There are ways to counter this. You can put things into tolerance, like tokens in the token tree. You can or in the mutation tree, I mean. You can put stuff into tolerance, cleanse, but this is really what makes cleanse so important in your run, is this one mutation. So it's an S tier mutation. It's, I mean, it's important. It's an important mutation. It's that powerful. If you get cleanse early in your run on your classes, take silence. You're not hurting yourself, right? You're going to cleanse yourself of that effect. It's just so strong. It's incredibly strong. Too strong. It's too strong. I don't think I think I said it. I don't think it should cast it on every single person in the room. I don't know how to. I'm not a developer. I just think that it should be like 50% of troops or something like that. Like, or a chance. Maybe it should be a chance mutation itself. You know, 30% chance to cast silence on enemy troops. Something like that would be much more fair. And then you would not have to take cleanse every single time you see it. That's my thought. That's my rant about it. Okay, now, Untouchable. Untouchable. Class units slow in attacking enemies' attack speed by 30%. Pretty straightforward mutation. You can slow down the enemy's attack speed. I think it's pretty decent. I think it's important to be able to slow down enemies' attack speed. It's going to probably slide into... do I want it in there? Nah, I think it's... I keep on looking at this despiritualization thing. It should be higher. I think it's up here. I'm going to say that slowing the attack speed is important. I'm going to say it's important. Not super, super important, but it's one of those ones that you kind of just, when it comes up for your class, you just grab it. Not because you need it, but it's there, and it's not going to hurt you in any way, shape, or form. Spiky armor, thorny armor. This one is... I feel like this is a really good mutation. So what it does is it returns damage back to the enemy. What's the percentage on this thing now? It's changed a couple times. Thorn armor. Class units return 60% of damage back to an enemy. I mean, you can just see where that would be super strong, right? I think that this is one that I always grab. I don't recall passing this up. Ever, really? And I think it's an A-tier mutation. I think it's a really good mutation. Boom, boom, boom. Let's go. Better than Evasion? It's probably close to the same as Evasion, actually, I think. In that ballpark. We'll say it's there. Now we have splash damage, right? So splash damage is, well, it's splash damage. And what's the percentage on it? It's, I think it's different for different classes, actually. Yeah, there's a couple different ones. Shooters have different, right? Shooters is a 5% splash. And then everybody else gets 20% splash, which is decent. I'm a fan of splash damage. And I always look at it kind of similar, like when it comes up with this, with the Untouchable, I just kind of pair it the same. Maybe it's a bit better. Like, maybe a little bit better. Actually... yeah, let's put it here. More damage is nice. More damage is nice. You want to have more damage. So let's do this. It's in there. Now we have Sticky Blood. I think Sticky Blood is one that... it's another early floor mutation. That if I can get it early, it's really nice to have. You probably definitely want to have it in PvP. So what it does is all units lower nearby enemies' attack and move speed by 40%. So that's when they die. So when you die, you have a little blood splatter. Everybody in a certain area ends up with a debuff that removes 40% of their attack and move speed, which is huge. I personally think that this thing is so important. I'm going to put it up here in the A tier, I think. Or high B tier. Highest of B tier? Super high B tier, almost A tier. It's so important. Get out of my way. Get out of my way. It's super important. And it will win you fights. It actually can win you fights. It can make a huge difference. Depending on what's going on. And in PvE. Say you're running mages and you just pick up you have this. It used to be the meta, early floor meta. This plus the attack drone mutation. You'd let the drone go, and it would die to the enemies, but it would cast this, and that was enough for you to maybe summon tentacles or get extra attacks off. It's huge. It makes a big difference. I apologize if I'm talking too much, but I like to kind of explain my thinking here, guys. Now we have Bash. Again, shooters have their own little thing, right? It's 5% chance to stun an enemy for 1 second on attack. Everybody else gets an 8% chance to stun an enemy for 1.5 seconds on attack. I like it. I think PvE, this thing's super important, especially for certain bosses. The Death Knight boss, it works really well also against cabbages that you just want to be able to stun so you don't get chewed on. This is one of my favorite mutations for PvE. I really like to have this mutation in PvE. And I'm going to say that it's... I don't know if it's an A tier. I'm gonna slide it in. Oh man, we're moving up here. We're getting a lot. I'm gonna slide it in here. Yeah, in the middle of B tier. I think it's a pretty good mutation. I like it. Stunning Beauty. That's what my wife calls me. Class units have a 20% chance to stun an enemy attacking them for 2 seconds. Another one, I think that like, this can work really well too, like similar to Bash. I think I prefer Bash a bit more than Stunning Beauty, but it's another good one. Stun can be huge for you, especially in PvE, right? So I don't like it as much as Bash. I feel like I've always had better success with Bash. So we're going to put it down there. Now this thing, Minions Attack. This is a shooter-only mutation. Summoned creatures receive 200% of the effect from the shooter's aura. So, I mean, I think the thinking is it's supposed to pair with this thing. But this thing's garbage. This thing is only really effective. I mean, like, I guess maybe you could take this with, maybe with tentacles. I've never tried it. I've never bothered. It's garbage. It's absolute garbage. Some of these things deserve a tier of their own, but I didn't want to have too many tiers. Some of these things are so bad that there should actually be another whole tier for them. Now we have Super Punch. This one, I really like Super Punch, other than it can chew through your mana super fast. Every 5 seconds, class units deal 2 times damage for 30 mana. This is a physical damage attack, so 2 times damage for 30 mana. So you can see if you don't have really good mana regen, you are going to burn through your mana incredibly fast, and you're just going to be, I keep on saying super over and over, you're going to burn through your mana so fast that you won't be able to use anything else. So that's one thing to keep in mind with this. But it does not change the fact that it is a very, very strong, it's a super strong mutation, in my opinion. And I like it. And it's for more than one class. I think it's important. I'm going to put it up here. I think it's an A level mutation. Just it chews through mana. I prefer Critical Strike because you're not eating up mana. This is right in the heart. This is a tank-only mutation. And these ones are a little bit hard to rank, not only because they're just tank-only, but because they kind of require more, I feel like, to get the best bang for your mutation. For your mutation bucks. The tank class class ability, so that's your taunt, reduces taunted targets' max health by 25% for the duration. Right, so for the duration of your taunt, you are reducing an enemy's health by 25%. The problem is tanks without mass taunt only taunt in a small area around them. Mass taunt removes half of the taunt duration, so this thing it only works for the duration of the taunt, and that makes it just difficult to like. I always feel like you need to have a few tank mutations together to actually really make it work. Or to make the class work. It's not a bad mutation though, and I think it's super important to have. I think it's one of the best it's maybe one of the best tank mutations there is in the game. Especially if you're pairing them as like a support class with maybe shooters in the back or something like that. Where do I want to put this? I'm going to put it up here, I think. Maybe not that strong. Maybe not that strong. Let's not be crazy here. It's not that strong. I'm gonna say that it's a pretty good mutation though. I'm slowly moving down the line. I'm like, what do I prefer over this? I'm gonna put it here. And in like lowish B tier. It just relies, you have to get so many other mutations to get it. And I keep looking at this thinking this thing's really good. I keep on looking at you thinking that I should move you up. I'm not gonna though. You're staying right there for now. Okay, now this is Tentacle Taunts. This thing used to be super good. What's with the word super today? This thing used to be great. Then they moved it back to a different floor, and that was like a big nerf to well, it was just a big nerf to cultists being able to get through the PvE easier. But anyway, so Tentacles taunt like a tank, and they force nearby enemies to attack them for 5 seconds every 18 seconds, receiving a bonus of 50% to their armor. It's strong. The problem is, you get it later in the game. I can't remember what floor it is. It's 7 or 8, something like that. So that makes it not that great in PvE anymore, because you don't get it till later. And then summon tentacle builds are just okay now. And I don't really know if taunt's that important in PvP, to be honest. Because it doesn't have mass taunt. I'm going to say that it's not that great anymore. I'm going to put it down here. I haven't done a lot of cultist runs, but I feel like it's not like super important to have. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Actually, you know what? Let's put it up here. Let's move it up here. Move it up. There. I feel better now. I feel better. As a former cultist fan, I feel better. Now we have most dexterous. If you watched any of my content, you know how I feel about most dexterous. Tricksters help allies evade attacks. So it's a trickster-only ability, or mutation. Chance is equal to their class ability level multiplied by 8. So if you have all 5 tricksters, your class ability level's 5. Multiply that by 8. There's your chance, your evasion chance, right? And that is crazy. There's a reason why a lot of builds to go through PvE, no matter what you're planning on doing, you'll see 5 tricksters, 3 tricksters, whatever. And they might not even have any other trickster mutations, but they will have this one. This is, in my opinion, one of the best, if not the best. I'm going to say it. It's the best mutation in the game. Just in general. Because you don't, the amount that you can literally throw in a few tricksters on your build, and you can boost the evasion on every other class. I think it's the strongest mutation in the game on its own for every single build. That's just my opinion. I think it's crazy strong, and it makes it so that tricksters are just like a must-have in almost every scenario. It feels like, which is not necessarily great. I think it could hurt the game in some ways, where you feel like you have to take something just so that your build can be more viable. Feint, also a trickster-only mutation. You might see a bit of a trend throughout here. I think tricksters have by far the best mutation pool in the game. When dodging an attack, tricksters deal 300 magic splash damage, which is kind of big. That's kind of a big amount. And I tested it. It does trigger too with dash, which is kind of crazy. And tricksters do, like, they're really good for a magic damage build. I think this thing is important to have. I'm gonna say it's like the super high B tier mutation. Actually, is it A tier? It might be A tier. If I have all this A tier, I better put this A tier. I like this. I think this is strong. I think it's a really strong mutation. Now we have Thrill of Battle, another trickster-only mutation. Tricksters restore 30 health with each attack. So this is a healing mutation. It's like another version of Vamp, right? Vampirism. But only for tricksters. For whatever reason. They need all that extra. No one else needs that extra help getting through PvE. You know, no one needs that much help. Tanks don't need that much help. Healers don't need that kind of help. Am I a little bit salty about it? Maybe. Do I run tricksters all the time? Yes. Thrill of Battle is, I don't think it's as important as vampirism, but if it's for this class, this is the thing. For this class, it's a strong mutation. I'm gonna put it. This is what makes it hard. Where am I putting this? It's in B tier. Let's put it here. I mean, in PvP, it might not be super important, but in PvE, it literally can make it so that you can just walk through PvE with nothing, like spending nothing. Now we have Valor. This has been one of the strongest mutations in the game since the game came out in early access, and I'm a big fan of it. I think this is one of the really, really cool mutations in the game. If there are more enemies than humans, each human gets plus 10 armor for each extra enemy. So, say I have 2 people on my side and I'm fighting 4 on the other side, we will just get plus 20 armor, right? Because there's 2 more on the other side. Zombie floor, this thing can make it so that you can run with, like, very few troops on your side. Maybe in PvP you decide to go with a very small build, you know, because you know that you're going up against lots of physical damage builds that have a ton of troops. It's a strong mutation, and it always has been a strong mutation. You put it in high B tier as well. I think it's a really good mutation. Wait, are you supposed to be here? I don't think you're supposed to be here. I think you're the healer event, aren't you? You're not supposed to be here. This is the ranged attack for healers, right? Remote heal. This is the healer event. So, oh wait, yes it is. It's supposed to be here. Remote heal. Healers heal allies from a distance. That's it. It's floor 2 thing. I don't recommend it. It's garbage. Healers are terrible. That's a bad mutation to have as a floor event compared to some of these other things. But healers don't have good mutations, really. But yeah, that probably should not be there. They should probably actually, well, actually, I don't even know. No, maybe it should be where it is. Yeah, because healers, suck. I don't know any other way to put it. I got nothing nice to say about the situation with healers. Mainly they suck because of their AI. But that's for a class tier list. Vampirism. Class units heal themselves for 7% of damage dealt. This is a good one. This is a really good one. I think that this is so like this is just tricksters only, but it's strong. This is 7% of damage dealt. I feel like this is a great mutation to have. Do I rank it higher than crit? I think I do. I think it's a tier, arguably S tier. I think it's a great mutation. Definitely want to have Vamp on your build. Living off scraps. This is one that you can get early in the game, and it's one that I've changed my mind about a couple times. This is very dependent on what the meta in the game currently is, I think. Humans consume 20% less food, so you can save a lot of money on food. But they move slower in a fight, so you might end up taking a bit more damage. I used to think this was garbage. I never took it. I think it's a much better mutation than I used to give it credit for, but also kind of depending on what you're running. I'm going to say that it's we'll say it's high C tier. I think it's not bad. I've been taking it a lot lately, and I think it's not terrible. And it saves you money, right? It saves you money. I think taking the carrot is not a bad thing. Not as bad as I used to think it was. I used to think it was terrible. Where are we at time on this? Wow, we're almost at an hour. This is by far my longest tier list video ever, and we still have some mutations to get through here. Raise the Dead. Cultists now summon zombies from dead bodies every 5 seconds for 10 mana. It's a really, really cool thing for cultists. I think it's strong. It's kind of neat. It's a floor 6 event mutation for cultists. I'm gonna say that it's here. Not as strong as these guys, but it's still pretty strong. Pretty strong overall. And you can, I mean, those summons, right? If you're doing a summon build, if you're planning on doing a summon build anyway, you might as well take this thing. That's basically the play, right? Because those zombies that you summon are going to have lots of extra stats. Thick Skin. Class units receive plus 30 to armor. Pretty straightforward. I don't think it's that important overall. I just don't think it's great. I'm gonna slide it in here. It's not a great mutation. I never really go, ooh, I got that. It's nothing that important to me. Snake Agility, class units. So this is a healer, cultist only mutation. Class units have 35% chance to evade enemy attacks. Now the problem with this is I never run healers, so that doesn't matter to me. and you shouldn't either. And cultists. So for your cultists, it's good. I can't remember if this is actually an event thing or not. I don't think it is. I never get it because I haven't been running these classes at all. It is evasion though for your cultists. So for your cultists, I think this thing is super strong. For healers, not. I don't really care. I'm gonna put it here though because it's just for those classes. I don't think that it's like it's kind of like a throwaway mutation in my opinion. For me, anyway. Maybe there's people that only run cultists out there. If you are, show yourself. Now we have the attack drone, so this is a pretty straightforward one, right? Like we just summon a little drone buddy, they go out, they die. Bada bing, bada boom. But they count as a summon. I don't think it's garbage. I'm gonna put this down in the low C. It's useful. It maybe can help you in PvE a bit still. Like I said earlier, paired with this, with sticky blood, it can be nice. Now we have the Mage Fireball mutation. This is a floor event on floor 6. Yeah, floor 6. Mages hurl a fireball at enemies every 9 seconds for 20 mana, dealing 120 magic damage. It's a good mutation. It's fine. I think that it's not as good as these guys overall. I'm going to put it there right in the middle of the floor mutation. The floor mutation mutations. Let's call it that. The floor mutation mutations. Another healer one. I have to look this one up, I admit, because like I don't run healers, so I can't remember what the heck their stuff's called. Powerful Pill. When healing, healers grant a bonus of 40 to the target's attack for 10 seconds. This bonus stacks. It stacks. And it sounds great. 40 to a target's attack for 10 seconds while they're healing. It sounds great. It is great. But the problem is the healer AI is so bad that this thing just doesn't work. Like, I mean, like, how do you, like, you can't tell them who to heal, right? You can't tell them who to heal. And because of that, it just makes all their mutations suck. Like, I can't rank it high just because it sounds like it's good. Is it good? No. It's not. I mean, if you get really lucky, maybe it'll help. I'm gonna put like that there. These ones are hard because healers, it's their AI. It's the class that sucks. The mutation, I can't tell you if it's good, really, because they don't use it properly. When healing, healers restore 30 mana to a target. I mean, that's pretty straightforward. This is spirit healing. Restoring 30 mana to a target. I don't think it's that important. Again, you can't tell them who to heal. It's less good than attack, though. I'm gonna put it in ID tier. Again, these are mutations that I don't use. Final Gift. On death, Final Gift. On death, all units increase a random ally's health by 200. I mean, that could be really good. That could be decent, right? I just don't think it's something that you can rely on. And it's kind of random, right? It literally says it gives random ally more health. I'm gonna rank it here. Low C. Hedonism. This used to be this on Game Pass right now. Hopefully it won't be forever. It is in place of interest, but now on Steam it is in the regular mutation pool, which I think is great for this hedonism. Buying food restores a percentage of humans' health equal to the number of tokens spent. So it basically just heals you when you buy food. It can be okay. I don't think it's worth it. There's other things that'll heal you that are better, right? That actually heal you in combat. So yeah, it's still garbage for me. It's still, maybe I'll put it better than you. Oh, you know what? Let's put it at the top of D tier, because it actually could keep you alive. It could, in theory. I have never had it happen. Okay, Chain Lightning. Thunderbolt becomes Chain Lightning. So this is a mage. Also, we'll get into the trickster part of it too. But Thunderbolt becomes Chain Lightning, dealing damage to 5 additional targets. Each strike deals 50% damage of the previous one. So it's just like slowly each strike of the Chain Lightning does a little bit less. Chain Lightning for your mages. If you don't have Chain Lightning, you shouldn't be running mages. That's how important it is to that build. For that reason, it's up here. Like, you just shouldn't even be running it if it's. Yeah, I think I'm gonna put it here. It's a very important mutation. We gotta move down here. How much do we have left? Oh, we're getting there. We're getting there, guys. We're getting there. Is this the the anti-gravity shots with mages? I think so. It knocks back the puny enemies. That's not it. 1 second here. One sec. Bear with me. Bear with me. I think it is. Anti-gravitational strike has a 20% chance of powerfully knocking back smaller enemies when attacking, and it's a mage-only mutation. It's okay. It maybe can do something for you. I don't think it's that strong. I'm gonna put it. Here in the low C tier. Again, all of these are kind of interchangeable based on your preference, maybe your build. Right? It's hard to rank some of this stuff, but you get an idea. Like, if this comes up and Chain Lightning comes up for your mages, take Chain Lightning 100% of the time, right? Like that's basically what this is going to paint a picture of, hopefully, for people. Now we have this slowed attack. My brain's turning to mush because I've been going for an hour now on this recording. Yeah, slowing attack. Class units slow enemies' attack by 30% for 5 seconds on their own attack. I always compare it, basically put it up here with the other slowing attack. I kind of pair them side by side. Usually that's how I think of it anyway. Maybe I'm wrong in that. I haven't gotten into the nitty-gritty part of it to figure out which one's actually better. Depends on your build, I guess. Now we have Blitz. Class units receive plus 30% to attack speed. I think attack speed DPS super important, right? I'm going to put it up here. I value attack speed sometimes more than just regular attack. And I'm going to put it up here. I actually kind of feel like I should have this higher than that. Do that. There, I moved something. Now we have... Oh, geez, we already have one of these. Is this going to be spiky armor? We did thorn armor instead of spiky armor, didn't we? Didn't we? Well, they're very similar. Yeah, I did thorn armor. So some classes get spiky armor, some classes get thorn armor. This one will, I think I got it backwards, actually. It doesn't matter. They return damage. One does 40, one does 60. I think they're both important. They're going to be side by side. I forgot about that. We'll put them side by side. So the one, it's hard to tell the difference. This one does spiky does 40% damage return back, and thorny does 60%. All right, spinning fencers. I think this has been one of the better mutations in the game for a long time. If you want to go with a magic fencer build, or if you're doing a magic build with other classes, this just makes your fencers spin every 14 seconds, dealing their base damage or base attack as magic damage for 7 seconds, and it spends 30 mana. I think it's a really good mutation, and it always has been. I'm going to say that it's... the problem with spinning fencers is that you cannot... It nullifies a ton of your other abilities, so keep that in mind. But for what it is, I think it's a really strong mutation. I'm going to put it up here in A tier, but a little bit lower because it nullifies a lot of stuff that you would normally put on your fencers, right? A lot of other things do not happen while you're using spinning fencers. This is ranged tentacles, right? So when your tentacles are summoned, they have a ranged attack instead of going up. It's a tricky one to use. I'm gonna say that it's just okay. I'm gonna put it down here with taunt. I don't think it's as important as taunt, but we're gonna put it there. Tolerance. So tolerance is it gives you the chance to avoid receiving negative status effects, right? And it's only available for cultists and eggheads, I believe, which makes it a little bit tricky. So it's only for those classes. But if it comes up for those runs, I think that it's a must-have. I really do. I think it's a must-have. because those builds are so reliant on being able to cast what they're trying to cast, right? They don't have much else going on for them. Is it an A tier mutation? Not really, because if you get cleansed, do you really need tolerance? Not so much. It's in B tier. I'm just trying to decide where the heck I want to throw it, but it doesn't matter that much. I'm gonna say here. Better than Snake Agility. Put it there. Snake Agility because it's got a healer on it. Then we have the Tomato. Tomato can be decent, right? So it's a stronger summon that you can get off the floor. But still, I wouldn't take it over top of my class mutations unless I'm running a summon build, but even still, there's probably other mutations that you might want to grab. Better than this guy, though. I'm going to rank it like this. We'll put him here. Ahead of the drone. And now we have defensive magic. This is for throwers and mages. Class units get 100% added to armor for 3 seconds when using an active ability. It does not stack. The problem with this is I don't ever really worry too much about armor. I'm not like crazy worried about my armor when I'm running my mages and my throwers that much. I mean, maybe I should be, but I don't know. And it's only for 3 seconds. I think that for me, it's still not garbage. I'm gonna put it in here, middle of C tier. Maybe you can make it a little bit higher, but it's only yeah, it's a tricky one. Health link. So this is for fighters. The link increases the max health cultist class by 200% for the duration. I was hyped when this came out. I just never could make it work because unfortunately, if you're running fighters, it doesn't pair well. Fighters don't pair well with cultists. They just don't. If you're going cultists, you're likely going to be in the summon tree or the magic damage tree. And fighters are almost always in the attack speed and attack damage tree. So I personally think this is a garbage mutation. That's my opinion of it. I think it's trash. Maybe you can find some uses for it, but I think it's garbage. So we'll put it there. I don't think it's that great. Maybe some Grandmaster players that have put thousands of hours in have had some success with it, but I don't think it's a good mutation overall, and I wouldn't recommend it on your fighter builds. Final aid on death. Class units increase a random ally's attack by 100. Does not stack. So when your troops die, they'll increase a random ally's attack. I'm a fan of getting more damage, always, over other things. So, having said that, it is random, though, right? I'm going to put it in here. I think it's pretty decent. I like getting more attack out. That's always kind of like a priority of mine. A newbie one, we have dodge. Newbies have a 40% chance to evade an attack by backstepping. So they can have a chance at evading an attack. What other than if you're running a newbie, a mega newbie, what are you doing running around with newbies? It's garbage. It's garbage, man. It's just not important. I get the thinking the newbies are a bit of a meme, but still, like, I mean, for the purpose of a tier list, it's pretty garbage. Intimidation is one that I've always liked. Do they have multiple? They do. Shooters have a 5% chance to cast fear on attack for 3 seconds if the enemy's attack is lower. That's an important thing to remember. And then intimidation on everything else is class units have a 10% chance to cast fear on attack if the enemy's attack is lower. That's the important thing. The enemy's attack has to be lower than yours, or else it's not going to cast. Let's say I think it can win you. It can win you fights. Easily win you fights, and let's go with let's go with, is it A tier? I want to say it's A tier. Or high B tier. Arguably A tier, but I'm going to say high B tier. No, low A tier. Low A tier. We're going low A tier with that thing. I really dig it. I think it's a great mutation. Now, and some of these mutations are kind of new-ish to me because I didn't play for the second half of early access mostly. Let's see. What do we have? Strike a Light. This is a Fencer mutation. When dealing a critical hit, Fencers ignite their target, which deals 500 additional damage. Is this the Fencer mutation from their event? I think it is. I haven't actually picked up the mutation before because I never run them. I think it is, though. I think this is the Fencer mutation that you get. When dealing a critical hit, Fencers ignite their target, which deals 500 additional damage. It's magic damage, though. Which kind of goes against the whole idea of running magic Fencers, because you'd be running Spinning Fencer. It doesn't sound great to me, just on the surface. I feel like it could be bad. What is this music? I'm gonna say that it's bad. Worse than the Mega Newbie? I'm gonna say it's worse than Mega Newbie without actually knowing for sure. Okay, I'm back. I had to stop for a second because I realized that my Spotify playlist all of a sudden just switched into music that has copyright on it. So yeah, I had to change that. If you heard me yell, "What is this music?" It's because I had to remove the music. I realized that it was playing some terrible, terrible copyrighted music. Weird stuff. Damage Link. When used, the Link deals 300 magic damage to enemies near the target. I mean, it's a fighter mutation. Only fighter mutation. It deals magic damage. I haven't had any luck with this thing. Again, another one that I was hyped about. I have not had luck with it. I know maybe a couple people have had okay luck with it. But it's pretty bad. And it's better than the health Link, I think. But I don't think it's worth it. Overall, I think the Link is the fighter Link is one of the worst abilities in the game. And I always have. Since the game released, I always thought that it was something that needed a complete rework, but I don't think that's going to happen. Sweet Pill to Swallow. This is a healer mutation. When healing, healers grant 80% attack speed for 5 seconds. It sounds great. Again, this could be one of the strongest mutations in the game. But healer AI is so bad. Like, if you could put these guys and guarantee that they're going to heal your shooters, could you imagine? Could you imagine if you could guarantee they'd heal shooters instead of just stand there and heal, like, themselves, like heal the other healer there? It could be crazy strong. But with the AI, it's just, I'm not ranking this high. I don't think you should have healers on your team. It's better than that. I'm gonna say here. Unfortunately, the class is so broken that I can't give an honest, like, a real ranking. I think that could be an S tier mutation. Like, when you read it, that thing sounds like it could be S tier. That's the truth. It really could be. Now we have Purifier. Healers remove negative effects from the target when healing. So that kind of works like Cleanse in a way, right? I guess. I've never used it. But it could be good. It could be good. It sounds good. I'm gonna put it here. I'm gonna put it in the low C tier-ish. Yeah. Again, they could all be, you know, you could just throw healer mutations in their own thing, I guess, and just say healers. Or I could have just removed them entirely from the list. Let's see here. Now what do we have? This is explosive shot, I think. The reason I always get screwed up here is because shooters have their own of many things, right? Shooters use it, use explosive projectile that deals 15 splash damage, and that's magic damage, right? And then for the other classes, it's 100%, or it's 100 splash damage. I think it's pretty decent. Honestly, I think it's pretty decent. I don't know about the shooter version of it, but I think it's pretty okay for the other classes. Especially, like, throwers, tricksters, ones that you're probably running magic damage anyway. I think it could be really, really strong. Maybe I'm gonna put it in high B tier. I think it could be low A tier as well, though. I think it's one of those ones that maybe you could make an argument. But I think it's pretty strong. I think it's pretty strong myself for some specific classes that use magic damage. And now we have Blinding Light, I think is what this one's called. And I'm going to call it that anyway. It will stop long-range attacks from occurring for 4 seconds. I don't even know if I can find it on my list again. Another one that I can't find on my list. Anywhere. There it is. Blinding Lightning. Victims of Mage Lightning are unable to use ranged attacks for 4 seconds. I think that's okay. I don't know how important it is. I haven't scienced it out. I think it's okay, though. I'm going to say that it's... if you're running mages, it's probably important to use it. You might as well. I'm going to put it in low B tier. Just because I think that it's... You probably need it when you run mages, or you should. It's not going to hurt you. Now we have the bird. The speed magic. This is for throwers and mages. Class units get 15% added to attack speed for 20 seconds when using active ability. I think this is okay. I like the attack speed. Again, going into the DPS part of things, right? I think it's okay. I'm gonna slide it in here. I think this is kind of like mid B tier. There's a lot of mutations in this game, isn't there? And a lot of specific ones. What is Spark? So this is magic damage. Summoned creatures. This applies to all summoned creatures. Have a 50% chance of igniting their target when attacking, dealing 320 damage for 4 seconds. Does not stack. I think if you're running a summon build, you probably should just take this, right? Why the heck not? But you likely haven't put a ton into magic damage, and that makes this not as strong. You would have to put a lot into your magic damage in the mutation tree to really boost this up, and I haven't messed with that. So on the surface, though, I think it's still something that you want to take on every summon build. So I'm going to put it here as well. I'm going to put that as a... Actually, no, I changed my mind. Better than that. No, it's not. I'm not going to say it's better than that. I'm going to say it's right here, behind Hail Satan and the Shooting Towers. Kind of in that same range. We have so many mutations on this board, I can't even see what I'm working with now. Now we have Last Word. This is a tank-only mutation. On death, tanks increase a random ally's armor by 100. I think this is a pretty decent tank mutation, to be honest. I think it's a B-tier mutation. And it's kind of in the same level as like this, but I think I prefer this. I mean, increasing armor by 100. Nah, you know what? No. Now that I think about it, I'm gonna pair it kind of nicely with this guy here. I think they're pretty equal. I haven't done enough tank runs to say which one I prefer. But I think this being able to nullify, have a chance at nullifying Resurrection is better. And maybe it should be B tier. I've been saying it, haven't I? I've been saying it since I ranked it. This is Effective Taunt. Now we're on to that. So this is tank class ability lasts 2 seconds longer. So again, we are like Mast Taunt reduces the length by half. Now this can add 2 seconds to it, right? Like it's... On its own, though, I think it's not good. I think like it relies on other things to make it worthwhile having, I think. So on its own, it's like it's a C mutation for me, I think. I think you need to have Mass Taunt and Right in the Heart to make this worth picking up. If you don't have those two things, I don't know why you would pick this up. We'll rank it ahead of the healer mutations, though, for sure, and ahead of those. Let's put it in... I'm going to say that it's in... maybe it's... maybe we'll put it in here-ish. Yeah, somewhere in here. Put it there. Yeah. It moved its way up the C tier. This is the fighter mutation that is Armor Link. The Link increases max armor of the tanks class by 50% for the duration of the Link. So it's fighter-only mutation. I've tried it a couple times. I have not had any luck with it, really. But I also don't like running Link that much. It's not my thing. It's not. I just feel like Link is not great. I'm putting it down here in the D tier. All these Link mutations because the Link is just not good. Actually, I think it's worse than magic. If I had to rank the three, I'd say magic is a bit better, but or the attack, the magic damage link is a bit better, but very little improvement there. Now this is oh crap, what is this one called? It is Stonewall, another tank one. Tanks receive 60 armor when taunting, but can't move or attack when it's active. So they get 6 plus 60 armor. I haven't scienced this thing out. This is one that I don't really know, like, what the benefit is to not being able to attack. I know you get 60 armor, but geez, they're going to burn through that 60 armor so fast that, like, what's the point? Like, in PvP anyway, that armor is going to go, like, in a heartbeat. I think. Now, your armor does go up when you're taunting, but I still feel like it's probably... I feel like it's probably still just going to get shredded. And without sciencing it, I'm going to say that it's better than the Lynx, and I'm going to put it here. Now we have Napalm. This is magic damage for throwers. When throwing bombs, throwers ignite their enemies, dealing 420 additional damage for 6 seconds. Does not stack. I mean, it doesn't hurt though, right? I feel like this is like it's more damage. I feel like it's a low-ish B tier mutation. I feel like. Who talked me into this thing? This is insane, the length of this. You guys talked me into doing this, and the amount of mutations in this game is crazy. Where am I putting this? I like the damage. I'm putting it in here. A little bit higher into the B tier, kind of mid-B. Now, this one, I know what it does. It knocks people back for throwers, but what the heck are you called? What are you called? Dude, the thrower knockback mutation. I don't know what it's called. It knocks back enemies. What are you called? I don't even know. All I know is this will knock back enemies. It knocks back enemies for throwers. And it's not... I don't personally recommend this mutation. I think for throwers there it is. Heavy bullets. Because they're throwing bullets, right? Throwers knock normal-sized enemies back on attack. I mean, maybe it could be okay in PvE. I don't recommend doing it in PvP. You kind of want to have your throwers right in the face of guys. I think it's a D tier mutation myself. I'm going to put it down here. I think it's D. I've never taken it on my thrower builds. I tried it in Brawl a couple times and it's trash. Now we have the Summon Zombie. We're going to put him right here with the Tomato and the Drone. And that's it. These ones down here, these ones are ones that I'm not ranking. I'm not going to rank these guys. They are ones from random events. This was added in. I did not make the tier list. There might be mutations missing here too. I did not make the actual template for this. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think. Hopefully, I feel like this is pretty good. Hopefully it helps you. Let me know what you think in the comments though. Appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, appreciate it if you hit the button. Thanks. I'll catch you on the next one. Have a fantastic day.